You know, you tell us about the shift of consciousness, and it's going to be very wonderful when it's complete. But right now we're in transition, and it's accelerating, and it's becoming very intense. And for myself and the people that I know, it feels choppy, it feels challenging, scary, and sometimes even unpredictable. And I see a lot of chaos and turmoil being created in our reality. So my question to you is, how do I manage myself? How do I stay in balance? And as a healer teacher, how do I help to manage and balance those who are asking for advice?
There are multiple answers to that. Let me go through them. It depends to a great extent on who is asking the question. We've been talking about this shift for numbers of years. And in Mastering Alchemy, we've been teaching tools, skills, and applications to deal with this time when this time came. And if you were one of those people who has been playing with tools and skills and balance consciously for the last 4 or 5 years, you have a large skill set of abilities to be able to stay conscious in the present moment, observe the world around you, choose how you wish to interact with what is going on or not, and then take an action. And that's a wonderful place to be if you were that individual. And there have been people who 3 years ago said, oh, I'm waking up, I'm becoming aware, I would like to have that same level of balance. They don't have the same skill set or had the same luxury of somebody who's been practicing 4 years. Same thing with the person 2 years, 1 year, last week. However, right now, there are many, many people who are becoming awake. They're becoming conscious to this change and to this shift of consciousness, but they don't have tools, and they don't have skills, and even way more so, they have a very strong anchor into that third dimensional reality of how it is that I go to work, I get paid, I'm at risk, I'm at the mercy of how much the company wants to pay me, etc. To a great extent, money drives our realities, and then people's well-being is tied to that money. Well, that game of money and the game of the third dimension is falling apart, and you're watching it externally all over the world, where those that have dominated the game are losing control of the game, and the game just is no longer sustainable. So to the individual who is, one, waking up and beginning to recognize a feeling inside their heart that says, this is not okay any longer. I can't live my life like this. That's not a fearful statement. It's a very powerful internal driver that's simply saying there must be more. And they are looking for more. But when you look out and around you, what you see is the shift very much in motion, which is effectively dismantling the third dimensional game, which is all I know. So even though there's this internal driver of something is going on, and I choose to have a better life in some fashion, simultaneously everything I know is crumbling and falling apart around me. And to complicate it is everybody I know is having the same experience, so they are out of balance, and I'm feeling out of balance. Consequently, there is this magnified out-of-balanceness in our communication with our wife, husband, children, mother, father, and the people I work with. Everybody knows something's going on, but most cannot put their finger on it. What they do see is this very out-of-balance, chaotic world outside of themselves that's unfolding. So your question is very perfect as far as what do I do? And how do I deal with my wife, husband, children, partners, people at work when this kind of chaotic fear unfolds? We have been conditioned in the society to look outside of ourselves for our answers. We have been conditioned to ask others to do for us in our society. To a great extent, that is unconscious as well as conscious. Fix me. How do I do this? Oh, I can't get into my computer. How do you get into the computer? Rather than stopping and figuring it out or being curious how to solve what's on your plate. Many times, what is being asked of somebody else is right in front of you if you would just look. So this sense of my world is determined by what's outside of me, and my well-being is determined by what's outside of me, is now very threatened for many people, because in real truth, your world is not outside of you. So as we go through this place, one of the things that I say constantly to people is, in spite of all of the kind of turmoil as this shift moves to something quite magnificent, but we're in transition, it is really important to find your own balance. And sometimes that means withdrawing from your relationship. I don't mean divorce. I mean just simply literally going into another room and closing your door and sitting down and taking some deep breaths and beginning to just find a sense of balance, starting to recognize that what's going on outside of you is going on outside of you. It is not necessarily what is the driver for who you are. Does that begin to make some sense?
It does. The question that I have, though, and I find that when I'm reacting to something that is happening in my field and I feel I've lost balance, I feel that I'm being buffeted by multiple events that are in my field, and sometimes I feel I don't have the luxury to go away and meditate or take a few breaths. It requires a response instantly in the moment, and I'm not even able to discern what I'm feeling at times. And I don't know how to manage the frustration that I have that I need to be on task, on with my job, on with my clients, and I'm feeling powerless to be of effect. Is there anything I could do that would help me be a better healer, teacher, and a better person to myself?
This word balance is absolutely critically important. What we have done is we have basically chosen to believe the outside world is what is in control or is in charge of us, or where my answers lie. And that is not correct, except it is our perception. And if you believe it is or you believe it is not, you're correct. So this is a transition. This is a shift of consciousness. And as it's transitioning, transition is never easy. And in this particular case, one thing that the average human does not like is change. It likes to be very dependable. But to a great extent, that's not what we like at all. Because what we have done is we've gotten very locked into a system that says this is how it is. And we have not challenged that belief structure for a really, really long time. And consequently, we've just all go process through it. But the transition is exactly about this is not how it is. What you have believed in the past is not accurate. In many, many cases, it really is about how you, the creator, would like to create your experience. But see, that's a mind change. That's an awareness change. That's what the shift is all about. That is what is happening. You are beginning to be aware of how powerful you are. But when you don't have a reference point to being powerful, it doesn't matter what you say because I don't believe I am. So this awareness that you are in charge of yourself is one of the first things that's very big to start to understand. How do you be in charge of yourself? What do you do to take responsibility for yourself in the most positive ways? And one of the things that's required is and I watch in all the tools we teach, is people are so much in motion. They are going to everything that's outside of them. And this is where I suggest if you can just take a breath and consider being the observer of what is going on around you rather than the participant in what is going on around you. It gives you a moment of pause. It gives you an opportunity just to simply say, okay, what is going on, observe, and then choose how I would like to experience that. most of us live in shoot, ready, aim mode. We open our mouth, we blurt something out, and then we go, oh, I'm sorry, I really didn't mean that. What I meant to say is, and we're backpedaling, we're in motion all the time. If you can just take a breath and observe and consider a couple of things. One is the person that's yelling at you in front of you or reacting in front of you or flailing around in front of you is in the same kind of confusion and possibly pain that you are. And pain speaks very loud, as does confusion. If a person can begin to have a concept of being grounded, it's a natural state of who you are. It's as simple as anything. If you just kind of recognize your feet are on the ground and say hello to the earth and ground yourself, just kind of have a sense of connectiveness, as simple as that sounds. Much of that energy that you're holding when you come into present time, I'm right here, I'm grounding myself, taking a breath, a lot of that confusion begins to go away. So just simple actions for people who don't have skills and tools. We can talk about that person in a moment also. But for a simple action is being grounded, taking a breath, and more or less pulling your attention back to yourself is something that is going to be very helpful. If you know how to ground, I mean, it's very simple. There's creating a line of energy, a beam of light, a sense of a chain or a pipe or something physical connected from the tip of the lower spine to the center of the earth, just as an image, and then just kind of relax into it. Something very physiologically happens. Thoughts are electrical and emotions are magnetic. This level of thought and this whole electrical charge that comes combined with I'm very angry, that tension that builds up is electrical and magnetic. And if you can just have a concept of letting that electrical thought ground off the body, just like a wire is always grounded on your toaster, you're going to find that there's a moment where you can actually bring yourself right into present time. And in that space, and that's the only space, present time, because that's all that exists. There really is no past and no future. Experience the past once that moment of present time passes you by. So you only have now, and in the now is where the activity and the action occurs. So taking that breath, pulling your attention into now, grounding, breathing for a moment, just in that simple set of actions, the ability to start to observe and recognize that's noise and pain, and I don't have to react to it, is a place for people who are very much just waking up.